He's right.
Sorry, okay.
You sounded like a little bird. That was actually cute. I liked it. We should put that as the intro. Okay.
I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Nour.
And I'm Roedah.
And welcome to BOGO, the podcast with 2 segments for the price of 1.
That's right. Every week we're serving up a double feature. Chapter Chit Chat, where we read excerpts from books and get way too deep about them. And almost experts, where we react to your stories and offer personal insights.
1 part cozy book club, 1 part chaos hotline. What could go wrong?
All right, so welcome to Almost Excerpts, the very first episode of the segment where we go through people's dramas, life regrets, weird dreams, existential crises.
And we respond with our most sincere, unqualified opinions. Think of us as your internet siblings. Part Gen Z,
Part millennial,
all vibes.
0 related degrees. So whether you need unsolicited opinions or just want to feel better about your own life, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it. This first story was submitted to Reddit by user Saganic. It goes as follows. I would call it creepy more than scary, but my mom's friend had a small house and lived alone. She noticed weird things such as a batch of soup depleting faster than usual, missing eggs, damp towels in the hamper when she hadn't used any, extra dishes in the dishwasher, extra dishes in the dishwasher, etc. This went on for months. She thought she was just being forgetful. One day she heard some thumping around in her attic. And
sorry, this like screams Jin's story to me. Keep going, please.
Okay, hold on. One day she heard some thumping around in the attic and went to investigate. She found some makeshift living quarters, a small radio, hot plate, sleeping bag, pillow, food wrappers, etc. She called the cops, who came to keep an eye on the place. They ended up catching a homeless man climbing a tree, trying to sneak into her attic window. He had been doing this almost daily. He would wait for her to go to work and then go downstairs and help himself to food and amenities.
Okay.
The funny part about this story is they got to know each other throughout the ordeal. And the guy was actually very respectful, just down on his luck. She didn't press charges. Instead, let him move in, helped him get a job, and he lived in the attic until he got back on his feet.
You know, hold on. I'm processing this. It's so nice she didn't press charges, but there depends on where they are, but I feel like there are a lot of resources that exist. So if she's helping him get a job, she can also help him find a temporary place of stay. I think it's like really commendable that she wanted to help him out and didn't press charges. That's amazing because, like they said, perhaps it's somebody who's just in a downturn in their life and could use the support.
My thing is, with all of the resources that this homeless person, this man is using, how did she not know? You know, if she has a small house and this person is using her electricity, eating her food, and she lives alone, like, how do you not notice that your food is going missing? And then how did it take you so long to hear a person living in your house?
But you're right.
It's very questionable to me, actually.
You're totally right.
This.
Yeah, and I misheard you. It's the writer's mom's friend. So it's likely somebody who lives alone, so on and so forth. And it went on for months.
Yeah.
Somebody's reading through the mic. I don't know which one of you guys, but someone. Oh, it's.
Got it.
Redo any of it or?
No.
Is it bad?
You're holding your breath? I know. This is the outtakes we need. Are you a mouth breather? Hold on.
No, I'm a nose breather.
I didn't just watch your nostrils twitch.
This is very useful to also smack people with.
I'll come at you. Okay. That's a lot. I don't know. Was she down? Was she looking for romance? Hold on. This is just like a really happenstance and strange thing. And mashallah, like, you know, praises be to the one who put some charity in her heart. But like,
Wait, the mom?
no, to the friend.
Okay.
This is
No,
like
sorry.
a lady on her own, right? And she lets him into her home. Like, that's very trusting. So I almost feel like while I want to commend her for being like very charitable, it's kind of naive.
Right.
Because like on the one hand, he's been coming in for months and he hasn't hurt her, but like also just you still don't know the person. So like regardless of what their circumstances are in general, like do you just invite anybody into your home?
I don't know. I feel like I have so many unanswered questions though. Like, you didn't notice also your plates and utensils going missing? Like if it's just one person living in the house, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of stuck on like the authenticity of the story.
How old is the person?
I don't know.
The other thing is if she thought she was being forgetful, could she have been older?
Oh,
Like I assumed that the writer was a teenager, but what if they weren't? What if they were a grown adult and then it's their mom's friend? So it could have been an elderly woman who then saw somebody and was like, hey, they could have easily just like literally took everything from me, totally moved in, made my home their full on home. I'm not trying to justify the behavior, all right, guys. I just like I can't understand it either way. I think if I was in that position where I am now as a mom, I don't think I could do that. I'd be just very wary. I'd want to connect them with resources that can support them, but maybe I'm not capable of doing the actual like resourcing myself. So I don't know. It really depends. What would you do if you were in this situation?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if I would have enough. Sorry. I don't know if I am forgiving enough. No matter how respectful she found him to be when she got to know him later on, how respectful could he have been if he was doing all of that? I don't know. I'm not that trusting. But yeah, it's interesting how something that starts off as a real life horror movie can turn into an unexpected story of empathy and redemption. It just goes to show sometimes the strangest moments can lead to the most human ones.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on to our second story. This one starts with kale and ends in crying. Let's talk about emotional nutrition and whether cheering from the sidelines is enough. So this is from the Am I the A-hole subreddit, my favorite place to be on the internet. And it reads, some backstory first. My wife had back-to-back pregnancies over the past 2 years, with the second pregnancy being twins. If you have kids, then you know how being pregnant changes a woman's body, and it can take years to recover. Ever since giving birth to our twins, my wife has been very insecure about her body. Simply put, she doesn't like how she looks. I know this and can honestly say I've never been critical about how she looks, even before the pregnancy, not once. I have no problem with her looks, not one bit. She'll always be pretty in my eyes. In the beginning of this year, she started getting back to working out, and just a couple weeks ago decided to join an online nutrition program that helps her eat better. I was 100% on board and with everything because I know this is very important to her. I want her to succeed and start loving herself more. However, she thinks I'm not active or present enough in her weight loss journey. I'm just on the sidelines cheering, and she feels she's in it alone. She said I've not shown any active interest in her progress and only listens when she shared her learnings, never directly asking her about anything related to working out or eating healthy. She said she expected me to show support by also starting to eat the same foods as her and starting to pay more attention to my body. I'm not fat nor skinny, just an average build with an average BMI. Honestly, I was kind of pissed when I heard this, and I told her I've been nothing but supportive. I just don't want to eat too healthy by her standards because it's kind of boring, and I'd like to have some not so healthy meals from time to time. Then there were a lot of back and forth of me not understanding her point, my attitude is bad, etc. I decided to keep quiet and just left the room to do other chores and calm down a bit. When I came back from taking the trash out, I saw her crying. I felt bad and went over to hug her and told her I'll start eating healthier with her, but please don't take away my favorite food, which I'll usually have once or twice a week for breakfast. It's about 650 calories. I thought my response was appropriate. I took a step in the direction that she wanted and just have one minor request. That was also said in a non-confrontational, coupley, apologetic, all I want is peace type of voice. I was just trying to be cute with the please don't take away line. Then she hit me with, don't you think I would also want to have that? What makes you think I won't want the same thing? But I can't. And if it's such a sacrifice for you, I'd rather you just not, etc. And now I'm pissed. I told her, I thought this is a step in the right direction, so why can't she just appreciate the decision and we can all be in this together? Her response was, why are you getting so worked up over food? I honestly couldn't see what I did wrong, especially our last conversation. The decision I made felt right, but she told me my attitude was wrong.
There's just so much to unpack here. Okay, to me, this is reading like it's a control thing, because why do I need my partner to alter their lifestyle in order for me to feel like they're supporting mine?
Do you feel like the control comes in the form of, I'm going to call two things out. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's in the form of wanting to control him? Like she's exercising control over him? Or is it that maybe there's some level of dysmorphic thought processes behind it, like people who, pursue certain goals relentlessly can have certain types of thoughts. And then when somebody isn't aligned, like when you make a lifestyle change, sometimes you want the people around you to have the same lifestyle as you. Otherwise, temptation is too great. I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate, so I really don't know. That's just me countering what you're saying.
I can see that, but I still don't feel like it excuses you imposing
rules, essentially. Yeah. Especially when it's not for anyone's benefit but your own.
And I think her approach is problematic, because I think it's one thing to have a conversation with your partner and maybe bring up, hey, why don't we both try to eat healthy together? Like, I would love it if you would join me and like we can both live a healthier lifestyle together, because you care for them and want the best for them as well as yourself. But I think it's another thing to feel upset that they're not changing their life to match yours.
I get what you're saying. It almost feels like she's lashing out because she can't have the same.
Yes.
And I've seen that happen a lot, where it's like, it's unfair. Why do I have to diet just to lose weight, but you don't have to maintain or whatever? And that just shows that they have different goals because they're in different places, and that's okay. But in that sense, should partners be expected to fully join in when someone starts a health journey or a lifestyle change? I know this isn't really applicable to us, but say there's a couple wherein one person pursues sobriety and the other continues to not. How do they balance that? Like, does the whole house go dry? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in this case, does all junk food leave the home? Does he have to take those meals outside of the house? Like, what's actually fair?
I think when both people come to an agreement that they both want the same thing, but to feel entitled that your partner goes sober just because you're sober is what I'm having difficulty grasping. And I think that also comes out in at the point where she says, don't you think I would also want to have that too? I feel like it's kind of resentful, and I feel like that way of thinking wouldn't really be healthy in a relationship. And your whole goal is to become healthier. And I just feel like that goes against that.
And you have a responsibility for yourself
Exactly.
in that, regardless of what's happening around you. So honestly, with this post, most people say not the A. A lot of people can relate from both perspectives in the sense of like, oh, I've been the healthy person in the relationship and I've cheered from the sidelines, but I didn't change my lifestyle per se. Also from the opposite end of, I was the partner on the weight loss journey and I didn't force anyone to follow. There is one comment where it says, I am the overweight / borderline obese member of my family. My husband and kids are all in healthy BMI range. For me, it's really hard to see their favorite snacks and treats in the house and not be able to have them myself. Right now, I'm not in a place where I can just have a taste or a little bit and not want more. I have asked if we can just not have those foods in the house, at least until I'm stronger in my weight loss efforts, but they say that they should be able to have those foods around because they don't have weight issues. And maybe they're right, but it hurts. Everything I've read or heard about weight loss says if there are foods you struggle with, don't keep them in the house until you can handle them. But that's not an option for me. So while my family says they support me, I don't always feel supported. So this is that opposite end of the spectrum. Someone responded, I am overweight too, but I still can't restrict what the rest of my family chooses to eat. It's not reasonable to expect your kids and husband who aren't overweight to not have the things they like in the house because you don't want them around. I know it makes it harder, but we can make our issues that of our families and friends.
Yeah, I feel like it would be really considerate of your family members to not bring in snacks that you know or that they know is a temptation for you, but definitely should not be expected. I think it can be worked around by maybe being strategic about where the snacks are put, or, you know, even if you have to put them in a safe, like you can buy those like timer operating safes, you know what I'm talking about? And place the snacks in there and maybe not give the person trying to lose weight the code, or I feel like you can find a middle ground where everyone gets what they need.
No, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I was just also like taking a glance at the other comments because it's really interesting. It doesn't feel like there's a big division in how people are seeing it, but some people are saying like you should just keep those foods away if you truly like support the person or your partner. Then if you must indulge, do it out of their view. But what's the line between protecting your comfort, your wants, and then showing solidarity? And I think that question in this context is not necessarily applicable outside of this context. Like, you know, you can ask about so many different things. But in this situation wherein we're talking about a partner and differing lifestyles currently, how do you pursue your own and still show solidarity for your partner?
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm of the mind that communication is really important. And I'm not sure if the problem here is she's feeling uncelebrated. Maybe but it's hard. I think the fact that this is about weight loss adds a whole nother level to it. Like some people are triggered when somebody calls out their progress. Some people are bothered by it, burdened by it. Some people prefer it, like to be, you know, celebrated, complimented. So it's really hard to read without knowing that. But in this case, if she prefers that and that's something that she would see, like words of encouragement, words of, you know, support, if she sees that as a sign of his active participation in her journey, that might be helpful, because she says, oh, you don't even ask about it, you only listen to me. Okay, but perhaps it's a sensitive topic, and so maybe he doesn't, you know, and that's what I would have thought. And
it does seem like he does say that I support her in what she's doing, and I have since the beginning of her journey. Right. So he might be thinking he is showing support by simply just being there. And I agree with you. That's why communication is important. But I feel like it's a little bit, could I say codependent? To feel like they need to hop on board as well for you to feel supported.
Like, I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
Okay. In this case, they have children together and they have a tenured relationship. However, I think that in new relationships, how much that lifestyle or value difference like matters to you can make or break the entire thing. Like,
I agree.
like if your health is of the utmost importance to you and then your partner is like eating rainbow chemicals every single day, are you really okay with that? That was aggressive, girl.
No, this is my rainbow chemicals.
Want some too? Wait, where's mine?
I think
Okay.
you drank it, girl.
No, I didn't finish it, but I'll take some of yours.
Guys, she downed a white peach Celsius 5 minutes ago, and she's hating on rainbow chemicals.
Okay, I'm not hating on it. I'm just using it as an example. Like, if your source of energy is endless Skittles, no hate.
But okay, no. My thing is like we're not arguing or we're not debating whether it's right or wrong. Obviously,
Right.
the healthier lifestyle is to eat in a cleaner way. But I don't think you can be upset at your partner for not choosing the same lifestyle.
It might not even be about the same, though. Like, you could be at one total extreme, but if you see that it's impacting their health and you've had a conversation and said, like, hey, can we work towards being healthier? It's not like you have to convert to my side of things or whatever, but it's like, I care about your health. I want you to live longer. I don't want you to, like, have a heart attack on the floor in front of me.
But can you be angry?
I think if you care about the person, there is a level of righteous anger. I think so. Like, enough. Like, if, okay, this is really extreme, but if your partner has an illness and they're in a latter stage of that illness, right? And the food is going to make it worse. And then they continue to eat that. And you want to see them live with you. And they're basically giving up. Like, it's almost like that. Would you not react? Like, would you not have some sort of righteous anger at wanting them to make choices that enable them to live potentially healthier and happier lives? Like, the happiness that comes from the gratification of a meal is in that moment, but whatever fuels you long term, there are choices associated, and those choices are also informed by, socioeconomic factors, so many other things, like just things that can sometimes also be outside of our control. But when you have the ability to make the choice, doesn't it matter?
I see your point.
Good job keeping a straight face. Our cameraman is trolling behind the camera.
He's doing Oompa Loompa dance.
Oompa Loompa doop-a-dee-doo.
Okay, I think...
But all in all, I don't think he's wrong.
No, I don't... Yeah.
But I think he could like stand to have more conversations with her about it until she understands that like she's acting out. She's lashing out. She's acting like the world is unfair for her because she chose to pursue health and she needed to do it in a harsh way to see the results she wanted in the timeline that she was aiming for. If that's your choice, you got to stick with it yourself. You can't blame other people because it's hard.
You're right.
And if she's feeling that way, she can still have that conversation with him and tell him, hey, the temptation's really hard, but she can't blame him. Like, that's misplaced, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's just the control that I'm having an issue with.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have the right to make those changes for other people. Regardless of anything. Like the only person you have a right to control is your child. He's not your child. Even your child, you can't really.
But you have the responsibility
But, like, you have the
to
authority.
make the decisions for them. Like, you have a sense of responsibility over them.
Do I have an authority problem? I think I have a problem with authority.
No, and when you bring up control, though, it really makes me question other things, though, because okay, I'm not trying to jump to conclusions or say she has. I talked about dysmorphic thoughts earlier, but the reason I brought that up was really because a colleague of mine once told me that EDs often stem from a problem of control, like lacking it in all other areas of their life. So the only way they can take control is through how they control their eating. And then that can develop into dysmorphic thought patterns, body issues, and then the actual ED, right? And then in that control issue can spill out into other avenues of their life. When they feel like something is threatening that sense of control, they lash out at that. And with her, she literally just had twins and a baby right before that, 2 years back to back. That's 3 under 3. And in his notes, he mentions like she breastfed for months or years. I don't know. Let me see. The twins are now 9 months old. They stopped breastfeeding already, but they order takeout or Uber Eats every meal. They don't have time to cook. And then for him, he doesn't even have his favorite food in front of her. He has it for breakfast at work. They don't do snacks or sweets. So he doesn't even do it in front of her. So she has no reason to be mad. She's just lashing out. And I think it is a control thing because she's like, this threatens my whole ideal thing. It's a temptation. It messes with my brain. It doesn't make it right. But like, I think that they can work past this. And I think that they can like,
Definitely.
I think they can get it together and like, you know, heal.
He does seem very understanding.
For what it's worth, yeah. And it just seems like maybe she's going through a rough patch. I don't think it means that he should withstand every beating, every verbal beating, but maybe he could, I don't know, stand to think intentionally about how he can show up, not just verbally, but with action, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. And she could also verbalize that too. Like, hey, I would feel more supported if we did this together, or you know, gave more words of affirmation, you know?
Yeah. So like how you ask for support really differs, and it's important to directly ask and explain sometimes this is what I need. It's like the whole thing of like, I can't read your mind, so I can't give you what you need unless you tell me, right? And so here it's not even really about the breakfast. It's about not wanting to do something hard alone and feeling like your partner is choosing convenience over connection. And I don't know, maybe that's looking into it too deeply, but
no,
he thought he was showing up, you know, but she didn't hear it as showing up. And when him saying like, don't take away my favorite foods, and thinking that was like a cute line, she didn't hear cute. She heard my snack is more important than your self-esteem. That's what she heard from him. My breakfast away from you, more important than your self-esteem.
No Lucky Charms.
Yeah,
No Fruit Loops.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it wasn't his intention to hurt her whatsoever, but that's the hard part. When your intention is to show love, but your impact still hurts, how do you like correct that? How do you show ownership and accountability for that?
Really is just communication.
Like, even if it circles for a while, eventually you get to a point if you're willing to hear each other out. So it was never really about the food.
Okay, next up is another I am the a-hole story.
Am I the a-hole?
Wait, should I say the ages?
Sure.
Like female.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I, female, 28, recently lost a fair bit of weight.
Another one. Okay. Sorry.
And now my friend, female, 30, is saying I'm trying to upstage her at her wedding.
What? Okay.
What's wrong? Okay. My best friend Emily got engaged at the end of last year and asked me to be a bridesmaid. I was super happy and of course said yes. In the past 3 years, I've put on some weight, about 2 dress sizes. It didn't really bother me until recently, so I decided to use the wedding as an excuse to lose some weight. I just find it easier to do if I have a goal and end date. This past weekend, we were bridesmaid dress shopping, and Emily was acting kind of weird towards me, giving me funny looks and talking over me. The 2 other bridesmaids, one I'm friends with, the other I don't know very well, didn't seem to notice, so I brushed it off thinking she was just stressed. Me and Emily live really close to each other, so usually after something like this, we would hang out for the day at one of our houses. At the end of the appointment, I asked her whose house she wanted to go to, and she scoffed and told me she was going home. I asked what was wrong, and this is when she went off on me. I don't remember word for word what she said because I was so confused and shocked, but these are the bits I remember. She basically said it was clear I was trying to lose weight to upstage her for her wedding, and that I was already the skinny friend, and now I'm just trying to make it all about me, especially as I never cleared my weight loss with her. Security check. She said I clearly knew what I was doing wrong because I was still wearing oversized clothes to disguise my weight loss. I just haven't updated my wardrobe and prefer to be comfortable over wearing tight-fitting stuff. I feel like control is the theme today.
She really said, "You conniving little bee. You went behind my back, planned to lose some weight before my wedding, just so you could look thinner in your dress while you stood next to me. How dare you?"
How dare you? I don't consider myself skinny, but I am the smallest out of the four of us. I also don't think about changing. Wait, I'm sorry. I also didn't think about how changing my appearance would affect her vision for her wedding. How inconsiderate. I've never been a bridesmaid before, so I don't know if that was something I should have considered. So I don't think I'm the a-hole for losing the weight, unless I am. But am I the a-hole for not telling her I was going to lose weight?
Okay, first, you do not need permission from anyone to do what you need to do with your body. Secondly, what's with bridezillas need to get cuffed and like locked in a room until they calm down and not like be crazy. Just because it's your special day doesn't mean you could act like this. It does not mean the world revolves around you, even if you feel like it should. I bet you like thousands of babies are being born that day. Thousands of people are also dying that day. There are funerals happening. There are other weddings happening. You are not that special. You're special, but not that special. Not to where somebody should be asking you for permission on how they should be living their life in accordance to your vision for one day that hopefully only happens once in your life.
Completely agreed. And to backpack off of that, I genuinely don't think that you are ready to be married to another human being if you are this insecure. Like, if you're treating your friend this way, I would hate to be the person living with you.
Can I read the update?
Yes.
Okay, so I see in her post
She got divorced.
First off, thanks for all the support as well as all the spelling lessons. They have cheered me up a lot. Not sure if anyone wanted an update, but you're getting one anyways. I called my friend as I am currently away for work, so I couldn't meet face to face. Spoiler, it did not go well. I started by telling her it was not my intent to make her feel any kind of way and tried to explain I had already been on my weight loss journey before she got engaged. I asked her if she really thought that I would be vindictive enough to try and upstage her at her wedding. Apparently, this was the wrong thing to say. She started ranting about how I think I'm better than her, how whenever we go out together, no one ever looks at her, only me. I don't even think this is true because she's pretty and I'm average looking. And here's where it gets bonkers bananas. She told me that her ex-boyfriend, who recently got married, is going to be at the wedding. And for a while, he was thinking of leaving his at the time fiance to ask me out, but my friend, her, convinced him not to. I had no idea any of this went on and would have been appalled because one, that's just weird, and two, he was my best friend's ex, and now I'm pretty sure she's somehow still in love with him. I have been uninvited from the wedding since, unless I put the weight back on, and then I can come, but not as a bridesmaid anymore. Safe to say, I now have a new motivation to keep the weight off and will not be attending any weddings in the near future. She's always had a temper and has flipped over many things at me, random stuff before, but nothing ever this insane. I guess I'm going to have to get better at identifying red flags.
Okay.
Why does she care about her ex?
Not only is this screaming insecure, but she's also
Disloyal.
Micro cheating.
Disloyal. Why do you care? Why'd you even invite him? Why do you care? And if you cared because you just don't want your friend getting with your ex, that's whatever. But like, why did you care that people think she's prettier? You need a reality check. You need some therapy. You need to build your self-confidence and your self-esteem. I don't think you're in a good state to get married because this screams very toxic behaviors that, if unsolved, can lead to problems within the marriage and or any growing household, extended families, other friends. Like, this is the type of thing that if the rest of the bridesmaids found out, could ruin everything for her too. Like, she needs to really get it together. This bride is not even looking to protect her own peace. She's just lashing out and being jealous.
At the end of the day, making a personal choice to better yourself is not something to apologize for. And if someone else feels threatened by your growth, that's their problem to unpack. You showed up for yourself, and that is a win.
Well, we have one more story to read today. This one is for anyone who's ever had a coworker who means well, but makes you want to scream into your coffee mug. Get ready for this. Okay, so this is from the am I overreacting portion of the internet, and it is, am I overreacting, or is my coworker really just an annoying overachiever? I've been at this job for almost a year now and have gotten along with all my coworkers, but there's this one coworker that just rubs me the wrong way. Not literally, but at first I thought he was just being helpful considering I was a newbie, but after a few months and with supporting remarks from our manager, I knew I was good at my position. I would be considered the head analyst for my department under my manager, and he's a floater that goes in between his primary department and mine. I would notice how he would overly explain things that the majority of the time didn't need any explanation. And soon noticed that if he didn't receive a thank you, he would just stare for a couple of seconds, waiting for me to say it. Meanwhile, I had gone back to work already. Whenever there's a new job that comes in, even if he's not in my department at the time, he gets up from wherever he is to grab the project, to look it over, and then hands it to me, giving me information that I can easily read from the documents provided myself. Then he started to micromanage me and my work. I caught him multiple times looking over my work in our data system, commenting on little things that I had inputted, saying things like, oh, I'm just very nitpicky about things. He would freeze and go back to his station when my manager decided... Oh, okay, thank you. He would look over my shoulder as I'm working, and whenever I would turn to him and ask him if he had a question, he would then freeze and go back to his station. When my manager decided to train me in a new department, this coworker kept popping up and observing everything I was doing until my manager took him on as well. He constantly eavesdrops on my conversations. Whenever I ask him a question, it's always IDK. But when he asks me, I have an answer. I've noticed this is only with me and not anyone else at the office. There are plenty of other things he does and has done that irritates me, but I don't know if this is how he is or just if there's another reason. Am I overreacting?
I think this coworker, which number one is, it's crazy how he's not even a superior. He's just a coworker. Mm-hmm. I think he's simply just threatened. Like, she must do stellar work and he must not be confident in his performance. And I think that is unfortunate. Yeah.
He acts like it's being helpful at first and then slowly over time becomes micromanagey. And I feel like that's a method of sabotage almost. I don't know. I can't speak for intention or intent, but I can definitely say that I wouldn't, if I were in that position, I wouldn't be overreacting. I'd probably be like extremely upset that someone was looking in on my work streams, trying to take over my work streams or trying to do the same things. Like that just looks like someone trying to impede my growth in my department when they're not even a part of that team. Yeah, like I wonder, for anyone watching who works at a company, how would you set a boundary here without turning it into a full HR situation, especially in the case where you don't have like clear examples of HR violations, but you just feel icky? It's either some strange form of favoritism or obsession or some self-imposed rivalry. And I can't tell, but honestly, if it were me, I would set super clear boundaries, tell my manager, protect my space, my work streams, ensure that like I'm claiming what is my work. And then if I see someone hovering again, I'm like, do you need something or are we doing this again? Yeah. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Almost Experts. You're almost experts. I'm Roedah. Just say your name.
I'm Nour.
Thanks so much for sending in your stories and letting us dive into the chaos, the tough stuff, and everything in between. We hope our unqualified advice gave you a little something to think about, or at least made you feel less alone in the messiness of life. Don't forget to hit subscribe, drop us a review if you're feeling generous, and send us stories of your own, questions or dilemmas you want us to tackle next time. Until then, I hope you take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you in the next one.